Hi guys, welcome to day 12 of the 28-day body transformation audio seminar. I am Coach Jerome, and today we're going to be talking about supplements. Supplements are interesting. In one regard, they can be tremendously helpful depending on your athletic or aesthetic situation. On the other hand, they could also be overpriced, underdosed, and in some regards can be a total ripoff. So let's take this way back to the beginning. What's the purpose of a supplement? It's to complement your current diet to meet your nutritional or performance needs. A balanced diet will not need any supplements because it provides all macro and micronutrients, and they'll be met through food. So what about athletics? I mean, we're all a bunch of guys that just go to the gym and crush it. You know, we're upping that intensity, we're pushing our bodies, we're breaking down that muscle, we need to repair, we need those protein shakes, we need those branched chain amino acids, we need creatine, we need those pre-workouts to get through the workouts, right? Well, I tend to think it kind of depends on the nature of your workout. I'm a big advocate of high intensity training. Most of my workouts and most of my clients' workouts only last maybe 10 to 15 minutes, some being much more brief than that. But if you tend to lift traditionally with a little bit more volume, your workouts, I don't know, I'm just going to say hypothetically, might be 30 to 60 minutes. Most traditional sets, if you're performing a set of bicep curls, might only last 20 to 30 seconds. If you're a high intensity advocate like me, set might be 60 to 90 seconds or so. So my question is, barring the notion that you're some performance athlete at the moment, and assuming you're like most of us that want to go to the gym, build some muscle, lose a little bit of fat, look a little bit better naked, right? Can't you just suck it up for 20 to 30 seconds? I mean, what does it take to do a set? Can you get really focused mentally and intense and ready to just go to war with those weights for 20 to 30 seconds at a time before you rest your 60 to 180 seconds between the next set? If you're just, the average guy who's going to the gym, wants to look a little bit better, like most of us are, a pre-workout stimulant probably isn't necessary. Now, there are some tried and true things. Caffeine can enhance athletic performance. Beta-alanine acts as a lactic acid buffer and can especially help with cardiovascular training. Some of those things for an endurance athlete or someone who really wants to maximize their performance in the gym might be a good idea, but in terms of necessity, or should you spend money on it, I wouldn't say it's necessary, but I also wouldn't totally discourage it. If it's in your budget and you want to give it a shot, go for it. But money's tight, unfortunately, for a lot of people, and as much as some supplements can cost, $50 for a pre-workout that might last you a month. Well, $50 a month, that could be your cell phone bill depending on your provider. That could be something that you're contributing to a 429 for your kid's college fund someday. That can be an investment for you. That can go towards paying off debt. I'm not going to totally discourage supplements, but I would just raise the question, based on your current financial status, is that the best appropriation of your funds? If you're a performance athlete, someone who regularly performs for a living in the competitive scene, yeah, it probably is a good idea. And I would refer you to your coach or other competitors in your field in terms of what they're using and how much they're using. Because the medical literature is actually pretty light on a lot of supplements. So let's go into a couple of specifics. I already loosely touched on pre-workout, but what about creatine? Kind of the big, this has been around for over 20 years now. Widely regarded as safe. Well, I think it also depends on the nature of your workouts. You see, creatine, the body has a bunch of different energy systems. The ATP phosphocreatine system occurs in the mitochondria of the cells. But creatine in that particular system only serves to fuel about the first 10 to 15 seconds of really intense physical activity before glycolysis becomes the predominant energy system. So at best, if you're taking creatine, it's only going to fuel you for that initial 10 to 15 seconds of that first set. Some of that will recover for subsequent sets, but not entirely. What you're doing when you supplement with creatine is you are saturating your cells so you can maximize this particular energy pathway. So creatine, given the physiological nature of how short and how brief that energy system is, can be tremendously beneficial for things like powerlifting. If you're doing a 1 repetition max on a bench, squat, or dead, well, how long does that 1 rep really take? The negative is usually, let's just assume the bench press. The negative is usually done very quickly. You have to maintain at least a 1-second pause on the chest, and then you're pressing. And that actual pressing, while it can feel like an eternity, if you have a lot of weight on the bar, you might only press for 7 to 10 seconds tops, in which case creatine would be a very good choice for you. If you are more of an endurance athlete, someone who's into boxing, mixed martial arts, and you have to perform for maybe, these very long durations, or even MMA, you have a 3 or 5 minute round of very active physiological nature. Well, creatine really isn't going to help that much. It's only, again, going to fuel a very limited amount of that particular time frame. So again, it's up to you. It's up to your workouts. Well, what about a multivitamin? I tend to think of multivitamins like an insurance policy. You should get all the nutrition you need from having a fairly healthy, balanced diet that doesn't overconsume on anything and doesn't overconsume on calories. And we've talked about that over the last couple of days. But our diets aren't always so balanced. And, sometimes we're busy, we miss meals, we miss certain things. So, again, looking at a multivitamin like an insurance policy, you're probably getting everything you need through food. But it may be considering worth taking a multi just in the instance that, you're missing out on something. Most vitamins and minerals we do not need in a very large supply. Again, some of them as small as maybe only a couple micrograms for a whole day. You don't need a lot of certain micronutrients, so you don't have to go too crazy expensive. You don't have to get some 2-a-day sport-specific vitamin. If you want to, go ahead, but I tend to think it's not necessary. What about a protein powder? Consider your protein requirements based on your activity and use as needed. Sometimes protein powder can be a great convenience. It's easy to pack away. You can throw some in like a Tupperware or a Snapware, bring it with you to your job, have a protein shake in the middle of the day if you want to work through lunch. And that's a good way to very easily maintain your protein requirements without putting a lot of time and effort into it. But again, if you like real food like I do, you probably don't need it, but it's nice to have around just in case you find yourself a little short on your protein. Fat burners, well, most fat burners are actually stimulants, caffeine being the primary one. And the latest numbers I've seen suggest that the best fat burners out there maybe only burn about an extra 50 calories a day. Well, 50 calories a day, that's going to take, 70 days. 70 days of burning an extra 50 calories a day to lose 1 pound. So, I don't know, what does an average fat burner run? $20 to, let's just say, $50 a month. If you consume that pill for $20 to $50 a month every single day to burn 1 extra pound of fat every 2 months, is it worth it? Well, it's really up to you. I'm not here to draw too hard of a line, so rather just inspire some thought. We have more supplements than we've ever had before. And in a lot of ways, our understanding of anatomy, physiology, and biology and sport-specific science is better than it's ever been before. But collectively, as a people, we're more out of shape. We're more overweight. We have more health issues than we've ever had before. So I don't think in a lot of ways supplements are the answer, but they can be tremendously helpful based on your activity and based on your specific needs. So if I had to recommend a couple of them, just for the average guy who's a gym goer, wants to look better naked, first I'd recommend a multivitamin. Again, I don't think any of these are necessary, but maybe a good idea, but that's up to your individual discretion. Second, I tend to like having some protein powder or protein bars on hand, just in case. They make it a very easy, convenient way. If you're not into intermittent fasting and you like eating meals, but you forget to meal prep, a protein bar or protein powder can be a very easy way to just get a little bit of protein in you in the middle of the day and hit those requirements if you're having a hard time getting enough protein. The third one I would recommend is actually some kind of sleep aid. Something like melatonin or GABA can be a great way to increase the quality of your sleep. Quality of sleep is so much more important than quantity of sleep. Most nights I get about 4 hours. Sometimes I stretch it out to 5. And that's not by choice. My life is tremendously busy with family, clients, and other bigger goals that I'm working on, writing, reading, stuff like that. So I try and get by on as little sleep as possible. And I think the best way to do that is to take small, inexpensive steps that you can to try and increase the quality of your sleep so that you have more time to live your life. If you want things like creatine, if you want things like branched chain amino acids, ask around, get some opinions, consider how it fits in your budget, consider your exercise and lifestyle. Are these things that you can easily fit in? Are these things that are going to stretch your budget? Excuse me. Are they really necessary? I can't really answer those for you. I don't think any supplement by definition is necessary. And I tend to think that that's money better spent on food and on other areas of your life that you're trying to improve. That $50 that you might spend on some supplements could buy a couple of books that could really change your life. And if you need some recommendations, I would be more than happy to recommend some books anytime you're interested. But that's up to you. If you're very serious about your athletic performance, your physique, they certainly can contribute to more muscle, less fat, but most of that is going to happen with the food that you're putting in your stomach and with what's going on in your head and in your heart. So I hope that sheds a little bit of light on some of the confusion around dietary supplements. Again, thanks for taking this time out of your day. Send me an email today. This is your assignment, fitcoachjerome@gmail.com. Let me know if you take any supplements, what supplements you take, why you take them. And it's not my job to pass judgment. It's just to get you guys to reflect upon your situation. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.